Alright, this is the joint decision. UFC 311 full card predictions and breakdown. We're rolling through every fight on this card. Early prelims, main card. If there's a scrap in the crowd, I'm on it. We'll break down the matchups, look at the odds, and see what the fighters have been up to heading into this weekend. Then, I'll give you my picks, some quick reasoning, and maybe even a baked take or two. It's all about figuring out who's going to spark up the octagon and who's burning my parlays. So grab a drink, roll one up, and let's get into it. First up, we've got Tagir Ulanbekov versus Clayton Carpenter. Tagir Ulanbekov, 15-2, hasn't fought since December 2023. He's got subs over Durden and Manis, though he did lose a decision to Elliott back in 2021. On the other side, we've got Clayton Carpenter, undefeated at 8-0. He picked up subs over Rocha in 2024 and Ronderos in 2023. And he smoked his way to a decision win over Cherez back in 2022 on Dana White's Contender Series. Ulanbekov is 33 at 5'7". Carpenter is 28 and stands at 5'6". 79% of the Topology community is backing Ulanbekov, 81% of those by decision. Odds-wise, Ulanbekov is a -300 favourite, leaving Carpenter as a +225 underdog. Both fighters seem pretty locked in on social media. Ulanbekov's been training with Islam and Umar, who are also on this card, while Carpenter's been spotted working out with one champion, Christian Lee. Now here's where it gets interesting. I'm picking Carpenter to win. He's younger, more active, and he's fought twice since Ulanbekov last stepped in. Carpenter's got a more dominant all-around game, and Ulanbekov has struggled with takedowns in the past. Honestly, if Ulanbekov wasn't, it wouldn't even be a discussion. I think Carpenter could get him down, maybe even rolls him up. But I'm leaning toward a decision here, so I'm playing it safe with Carpenter on the money line. Tercios versus Sopag. Tercios, 12-4, was choked out by Rosas in June 2024, won a decision over Natividad and lost one to Zahabi in 2022. Sopaj, 11-3, was sparked out by Oliveira in his March 2024 UFC debut, but sparked out both Vargas in AFN 2023 to win the belt and Lopez to defend the FCR belt. Tercios is 31-5'9", while Sopaj is 24-5'6". Topology has 82% backing Sopaj, with 69% picking him by decision. Odds are in line, with Sopaj as the -350 favourite and Tercios at +275. Tercios is training with Yadong and Faber, plus he's posted himself wielding a lightsaber. Sopaj, meanwhile, is training with UFC fighter Lima and looking locked in for redemption. Tercios has only 4 finishes, but out of 4 UFC fights, he's won 2, both by decision. Sopaj, on the other hand, has 10 finishes, 7 by KO and 3 by sub, but hasn't gotten his first UFC win yet. This fight comes down to the older, tested fighter versus a younger, talented finisher who might not quite be UFC level yet. I'm giving Sopaj the benefit of the doubt here and think he gets the win. If it's a finish, I'd lean toward a knockout, but I'm siding with Topology. My pick is Sopaj by decision. Nakamura vs. Gafarov. Nakamura, 9-0, won decisions over Vera in February 2024 and Garcia in 2023, also sparked out Kazama in 2023. Gafarov, 19-6, won a decision over Kang in June 2024, was choked out by Nurmagomedov and lost a decision to Castaneda in 2023. Both are 5'7", with Nakamura at 29 and Gafarov at 28. Topology has 92% backing Nakamura, with 80% picking him by decision. Odds agree, with Nakamura as a heavy -500 favourite and Gafarov as a +350 underdog. Nakamura looks locked in, training with his team on socials. He's trained with Pantoja a few times, though the last post was in October. Gafarov's been active too, seen training with Merab and Aljo in November. Gafarov has an impressive record of first-round finishes, 7 by KO and 7 by sub, but none of those came in the UFC. Meanwhile, Nakamura is undefeated, with 5 of his 9 wins being first-round finishes, including his UFC debut. Safe to say, he's been tested. I'm leaning toward another knockout for Nakamura, but a decision feels just as likely. My pick is Nakamura by decision, but it's worth doubling up on the knockout. Rosa versus Perez. Rosa, 18-6, won a decision over Kianzad in August 2024, lost one to Aldana and won one over Santos in 2023. Perez, 11-2, rolled up Zheleznyakova in September, won a decision over Edwards in June 2024, and took a decision over Pudilova in 2023. Both are 30 years old and 5'5". Topology has 72% backing Perez, with 90% picking her by decision, but the odds lean the other way, with Rosa as the -275 favourite and Perez at +210. On socials, both fighters look locked in. Rosa has been training with UFC fighter Gomes, while Perez is working with fellow card fighter Sopage. The Topology community must be subbed to Perez's OF because I'm not seeing whatever they're seeing. Both have the same age, height and finishing record, but Rosa seems more serious about the fight game with an extra 11 fights. Meanwhile, Perez is focused on money-making ventures outside the cage. I'm siding with the odds on this one. Rosa to win, but it's WMMA, so it's anyone's guess how it goes. The one thing I'm confident about is it going the distance. My pick is Rosa by decision. Reis versus Bekov. Reis, 8-1, won a decision over Medina in August, sparked out Marquez in June 2024, but was slammed and sparked out by Brundage in 2023. Bekov, 18-3, sparked out Foxworth in LFA in 2024 and won decisions over Fernando and Budka in 2023 to win, unify and defend the championship. Reis is 30 and stands tall at 6'4", while Bekov is 29 and 5'11". Topology has this one almost split, with 52% backing Bekov and 67% of those picking him to win by decision. Odds have Bekov as a -213 favourite, while Reis comes in as a +183 underdog. Reis hasn't posted much training-wise recently. That doesn't mean it isn't happening. Honestly, sometimes the less you post, the better. Look at Pereira's team spotting Jiri warming up and figuring out how to KO him. But all we've seen from Reis is him signing posters. Meanwhile, Bekov has been training with tough names like Masvidal and Moicano. This fight's a hard one to call. Reis has been dominant apart from a freak slam loss and is much taller with UFC-level experience. On the other hand, Bekov is a proven LFA champ with more finishes on his record and high-level training partners. Does that mean Bekov will finish Reis? Maybe. A finish is possible, but I see this going the distance. If you're betting, moneyline might be the safer play. My pick is Bekov by decision. Dawson versus Ferreira. Dawson, 22-2, sparked out Garcia in October, won a decision over Selecki in June 2024, but got sparked out by Green in 2023. Ferreira, 19-5, sparked out Rebecki in May 2024 and Johnson in 2023, though he was submitted to strikes by Gamrot in 2021. Dawson is 30-5-10, while Ferreira is 40-5-9. Topology has 80% backing Dawson, with 76% of those picking him by decision. Odds have Dawson as a heavy favourite at -275, while Ferreira is a +210 underdog. Dawson seems locked in, training with Bellator fighter Wilson. Ferreira, on the other hand, hasn't posted anything recent, just signing posters. Out of his 11 UFC fights, Dawson's only loss was that KO by Green, which is fair considering Green's experience with 25 UFC fights. Might make him chinny, but he looks to be bouncing back. Ferreira, on the other hand, has only fought once a year since his last loss, and with a decade in age difference, I can't help but pick Dawson here. Both fighters have solid submission games, but I can't see Dawson submitting Ferreira. He might tire him out and either score a knockout or go the distance. I'm doubling up on Dawson by decision or KO. Guskov versus Elikana. Guskov, 16-3, sparked out Span in April and Paga in February 2024, and he was choked out by Oezdemir in 2023. Elikana, 7-1, sparked out Simmons in July 2024 under LXF. Before that, he took Campbell and Overeem to decisions in 2023 over in PFL. Guskov is 32 and stands at 6'3". Elikana is 29 and stands at 6'2". Topology has 96% of people backing Guskov, with 92% picking him by knockout. The odds aren't quite the same, with Guskov at -333 and Elikana as a +250 underdog. On socials, Guskov seems locked in. He's been training with former champ Sean Strickland. Meanwhile, Elikana hasn't been too active online, so here's a pick from when he beat Pooh Bear. It's worth mentioning this was supposed to be Guskov versus Walker. It's a last-minute fight for both, but I had Guskov beating Walker anyway. This should be an easy win for Guskov. 10 of his 16 wins are first-round knockouts, and against someone like Elikana, who's barely scraping decisions in lesser competition, this seems one-sided. Add in the fact Elikana is stepping in without a proper training camp, and it feels like he's walking into a bad night. So my pick is easily Guskov by KO. Almeida vs Spivak. Almeida, 21-3, choked out Romanov in June, but was sparked out by Blades in March 2024. Before that, he won a decision over Lewis in 2023. Spivak, 17-4, submitted Tibura in August 2024, was sparked out by Gain and choked out Lewis in 2023. Both men are 6'3", but Almeida is 33 while Spivak is 29. Topology has 90% backing Almeida, with 63% picking him by submission. The odds reflect that confidence, with Almeida as a heavy favourite at -450 and Spivak sitting as a +333 underdog. Almeida's training looks sharp. He's been working with names like Diniz, while the polar bear hasn't shown much beyond a picture of him taking a swim, probably trying to catch some fish. It's also funny how similar their careers have been lately. Both beat Lewis, got knocked out, and then rebounded with submissions. Seems like heavyweight life in a nutshell. You either get the finish, get finished, or beat Derek Lewis. As for the fight itself, Almeida is the more dangerous and active fighter. Spivak is younger, but Almeida feels sharper and more prepared based on what I've seen. Both guys are finishers, so I don't expect this one to go the distance, but who knows? My pick is Almeida by submission, though a knockout isn't off the table. If you're betting, Almeida moneyline feels like the safest play. Talbot vs Barcelos. Talbot, 9-0, sparked out Gemori in June and Simon in March 2024, and he rolled up Aguirre in 2023. Barcelos, 18-5, subbed Quinones in February 2024. Lost a decision to Phillips and was sparked out by Nurmagomedov in 2023. Talbot is 26 and stands at 5'10". Barcelos is 37 and stands at 5'7". Topology has Talbot by a wide margin of 98%, with 88% backing him by knockout. The odds are just as high, with Talbot as a -408 favourite and Barcelos as a +750 underdog. Both fighters seem locked in as usual, with Talbot doing his thing in training and shaving most of his hair. Barcelos is training hard too. But honestly, is it just me, or does it look like he tried to replicate Talbot in his training partner? Haircut and all. Funny now that Talbot's shaved it off, but anyway. There's not much to say about this one. It's clearly Talbot's fight, and he's most likely getting a highlight knockout. Barcelos was a solid fighter in his prime, but he's definitely at the tail end of his career, while Talbot is fast-tracking to the top. Strange matchup, but a fight's a fight. Obviously, my pick is Talbot, and I don't see this going the distance. Barcelos' only shot is a sneaky sub, but honestly, I think we see a fast Talbot knockout. Holland vs Ridder. Holland, 26-12, lost to Dolidze due to a rib injury in October. Before that, he subbed Alexiejczuk in June and dropped a decision to MVP in March, all in 2024. De Ridder, 18-2, subbed Meerschaert in November to win his UFC debut. Before that, he sparked out Kasayev in UAE Warriors in July 2024 and lost his belt along with his last 3 fights in one championship. Holland is 32 and stands at 6'3". De Ridder is 34 and stands at 6'4". 53% of Topology is backing De Ridder, with 66% picking him by submission. Odds are split at -110 both ways. Holland seems pretty locked in, doing his own thing in training. De Ridder, on the other hand, is training with a solid group of fighters, including Lawler. I'm going with the X1 champ here. Ridder may have hit a rough patch at the end of his one run, but he's still a dangerous threat. Meanwhile, Holland feels like he's just floating by at this point. So, I think De Ridder rolls him up. There's always a chance we get a Holland knockout, but my pick is Ridder by submission. Dariush vs Moicano. Dariush, 22-6, last fought in 2023, suffering back-to-back knockouts by Tsarukian and Oliveira. Before that, he secured a decision win over Gamrot in 2022. Moicano, 20-5, had a busy 2024. He smoked BSD in September, sparked out Turner in April, and took Dober to a decision in February. Dariush is 35 and stands at 5'10". Moicano, also 35, stands at 5'11". 82% of Topology is backing Moicano, with 55% picking him by knockout. Odds have Moicano as the -188 favourite, leaving Dariush as the +150 underdog. Moicano's locked in on socials, training with Poirier, and Dariush was spotted with Chikadze. Dariush hasn't scored a finish in 5 years, and while they're both the same age, Dariush just seems past his prime, while Moicano appears to be improving with every fight. After his performance against BSD, I don't know what more to expect from Moicano. It looks like they've patched the free money glitch of Moicano being an underdog, but this is still easy money. Moicano to hand Dariush his 3rd knockout loss in a row. Prochaska vs Hill. Prochaska, 30-5, took a nasty head kick knockout from Pereira in June 2024. Before that, he sparked out Rakic in April 2024 and was sparked out again in 2023 by Pereira. Hill, 12-2, was also knocked out by Pereira in April 2024. He took Teixeira to a unanimous decision in 2023 and sparked out Santos in 2022. Prochaska is 32 and stands at 6'3". Hill is 33 and stands at 6'4". 67% of Topology has Prochaska, with 91% picking him by knockout. Odds are currently split, with both fighters at -110. On socials, there's no doubt Prochaska is locked in. Bro is the definition of locked in, training with ex-Octagon champ Martinek. And I'm trying to be fair, but Hill is literally off the couch. The last training post I can find is with ESPN analyst Smith. Prochaska's only losses in the UFC are to Pereira, which is fair enough. But the same goes for Hill. However, Hill does have another loss in the UFC to Craig. Injury or not, it's still a loss. Now, I do think Prochaska is the better fighter, but he's notorious for, let's just say, fighting his own way. I love him for it, but it does leave openings for Hill to pick off a clean shot, just like Pereira did. That being said, Prochaska is my pick. I don't see this fight going the distance either way, but who knows? I'm going with Prochaska by knockout. Dvalishvili vs Nurmagomedov. Dvalishvili, 18-4, the decision machine. He beat O'Malley for the belt in September 2024. Before that, he took unanimous decisions over Cejudo in February 2024 and Yan in 2023. Nurmagomedov, undefeated at 18-0, went to unanimous decisions against Sandhagen in August and Al-Makan in March 2024. And let's not forget, he sparked out Barcelos in 2023. Dvalishvili is 34, standing at 5'6". Nurmagomedov is 29 and 5'8". 68% of Topology are backing Nurmagomedov, with 79% picking him by decision. Odds have Nurmagomedov as the favourite at -333, leaving Dvalishvili as the +250 underdog. Dvalishvili looks as locked in as ever, training alongside Sterling. Nurmagomedov, as we've already seen, is with Makhachev, Ulanbekov, Khabib, and maybe even Belal. Now, I'm not sure about this one. We've got 2 decision merchants. Nurmagomedov has more finishes and is training with killers, but I can't shake the feeling that Dvalishvili wins this. Plus, there's this talk about Nurmagomedov fighting with an injured arm. I don't know if it's true or how bad it is, but going into this fight with a bad arm against someone who's going to wrestle non-stop, that's a tough ask. So, I'm going with Dvalishvili. Maybe I'm wrong, and Nurmagomedov puts up a good scrap, or even gets a finish, but I've got to trust my gut. Dvalishvili by decision. And lastly, Islam Makhachev vs Arman Tsarukyan. Islam Makhachev, 26-1, subbed Poirier in June 2024. Before that, he sparked out Volk and won a decision in back-to-back fights in 2023. Arman Tsarukyan, 22-3, hasn't fought since beating Oliveira in April 2024, though that was due to a suspension. Before that, he sparked out both Dariush and Silva in 2023. Makhachev is 33 and stands at 5'10". Tsarukyan is 28 and 5'7". 85% of the Topology community is backing Makhachev, with 66% picking him to win by decision. Odds have Makhachev as the -400 favourite, leaving Tsarukyan as the +300 underdog. Both fighters seem locked in on socials. Makhachev, as we saw earlier, has been training with Ulanbekov, Umar, and of course Khabib. Meanwhile, Tsarukyan? Bro's looking absolutely shredded. He might have found the secret juice. I'm going with Makhachev here. Tsarukyan will come into this one better prepared and put up a tougher fight than the first time, maybe even reopen that Poirier cut. But outside of that, I see it playing out pretty much the same way. Probably a split decision this time. There's always a chance Makhachev gets the finish, but I think this one goes the distance again. Makhachev by decision is my pick. So that wraps up the joint decision for UFC 311. Quick recap. Guskov was set to fight Walker, but Walker pulled out due to a bad injury. He's devastated. Reese was supposed to fight Dumas, but Dumas bailed with no explanation. Despite the nearby fires, Dana's adamant the event is staying put. No backup location needed. On commentary, we've got the GOAT trio, Anik, Rogan and Cormier. Oh, and don't miss Makhachev and Valishvili's custom shorts. Makhachev's got some sick mountain details and, Meanwhile, Dvalishvili, man's out here flexing Hobbit quotes or something. Easily the better pair. Other notable news, Khabib, removed from a plane heading to the event, and Sarukian claims he's bringing a secret technique. Brother, you're bringing a staph infection. Now on to the bets. Here's where the money's at. Money lines, Carpenter Almeida. Decisions, Sopaj Nakamura Rosa, Bekoev Dvalishvili Makhachev. Knockouts, Nakamura Dawson Talbot Guskov Prochaska Moicano. Submissions, Dawson Ridder. Bonus bets, Rosa versus Perez to go the distance. Talbot by round 1 KO, lock it in. And if I'm wrong, the Team Khabib parlay could bail me out. Ulanbekov Nurmagomedov Makhachev. Feeling risky, try the Dejan Savage parlay. Carpenter, Sopa, Nakamura, Rosa, Dawson, Beck Almeida, Talbot, Guskov, Ridder, Prochaska, Moicano, Dvalishvili, Makhachev. Or go all in with the ultimate Dejan Savage parlay. Sopaj, Rosa, Bekov, Dvalishvili, Makhachev by decision. Nakamura, Dawson, Talbot first round, Guskov, Prochaska, Moicano by KO. Carpenter, Almeida and Ridder by sub. That's it for UFC 311 by joint decision.